Okay, awesome. Here we are. So officially welcome to all of you 40 people from all around the globe. I would say good morning, but I know for some of you it's evening over in the Netherlands and in Jordan, and I'm kind of scanning who I know and where you are. Scotland. Hi, Heather. So welcome to this is our second time ever doing this practice online. Lauren and I have been collaborating for 10 years and teaching and developing and falling in love with this creative practice for the past 3 years as something that we facilitate rather than just what we do. So welcome to the second ever online Cultivate. And this one is creative practice in the face of uncertainty, which we're just all absorbed in right now. So I'm Brooke, and Lauren, you want to say hi?
Yeah, I'm Lauren. And like Brooke said, it's so amazing to see so many faces and beautiful homes, little glimpses into each other's worlds. And welcome people from all over the world. So I just want to say that for us, we'll lead this workshop today in English, and I know that English is not perhaps your native language or first language. So for those of you who it is not, if there is ever a moment that we need to slow down or repeat or check in or ask a question, please feel free to put that in the chat or just simply raise your hand or unmute and say, hold on. So we welcome so many people from all over the world, and we're, like Brooke said, we're so excited to continue to extend this practice that has fed us in terms of our own artistic manifestation and our work in the world as performing artists, and to extend it out as not only an artistic practice, but really a human practice, to styles and purposes and intentions well beyond the field of art, however you may identify inside of that. So.
Yeah, and we, we recognize that really to train as an artist or to train in creative practice is to train in bearing witness to and being intimate with uncertainty. So, we all have a relationship with uncertainty and different styles of responding. And so this practice is a way of bearing witness to and being intimate with this particular flavor of global uncertainty right now, which is, multidimensional. There's lots of different layers that I'm feeling day to day, but we're all connected in it. So it's a perfect time to practice this practice. And it might seem ironic, but what we want to focus on today is our capacity to play within uncertainty. So it doesn't mean that we have to be like laughing and happy, not necessarily that kind of play, but our capacity to stay present and explore and not constrict and fixate and get solid. So our capacity to stay fluid and move and explore and adapt. So with that said, in the spirit of play, we wanted to do just a moment of playful introduction and kind of icebreaker with you all. And maybe this is a little bit irreverent. That's why we like it. And you may have heard of this online, that people are saying that your quarantine name, have you heard this? Your quarantine name is the feeling you have right now, and then the last food you ate. So yesterday when we did this, mine was happy sausage, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, happy sausage is good. Mine was irritable waffle.
Irritable waffle
was mine yesterday.
Yeah, and so I think right now I'd have to adapt mine to to anticipatory yogurt. Anticipatory yogurt. And then we want to hear from you. So if you come up with yours, put it in the chat. And if you think it's like you really feel moved to share it, raise your hand and we'll call on you. All right. Wired banana, relaxed guacamole, nervous trail mix, playful pancake, curious polenta,
Content cinnamon bread,
hopeful pizza, bewildered toast, groggy smoothie,
groggy coffee. Oh, excited cracker, disheveled lemon.
Amanda Nora, yours is long. Great.
Last night was sad cookie, now is tired soup.
Insomnia cookie, I feel you. I couldn't sleep last night. Cold muffin, grateful pancake. Hi, Anna. Hesitating sushi. This is so good. Okay, just a few more. Distracted smoothie. Hi, Leah.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's hear a couple of your voices. So if you're willing to speak yours, will you just raise your hand and we'll call on you? Let's see. You can physically raise it and we'll call on you. Popo! Will you share yours? This is my best friend from college.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Curious coffee yogurt.
Curious coffee yogurt. Perfect. Oh my gosh. I just got so okay.
Nice.
Ariana Bernier. Hi, Bias. Hey.
I'll do my best. If he gets too distracting, then I'll duck out.
He's way too distracting. He's so cute. I'm just going to mute you. Ariana, am I saying your name right, from Jordan? Yeah, what's your quarantine name? I'll unmute you. Hold on. You're still muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I ate a bunch of things, but wired banana or a dirty tahini.
Dirty tahini? Amazing.
Or wired banana, either or.
Great. Amazing.
Oh, I love it.
Lauren, you want to call in a couple folks?
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Is it Tana or Tana Sailor? Yeah.
So first I thought I was sleepy raspberry, but apparently I'm sleepy zinc lozenge because
That's perfect. That's very telling. Sleepy zinc lozenge. I love that one. Thank you. Thank you. And what about Rod?
Hi, Rod.
You're going to put me on the spot here, huh?
I know.
Well, I would have to be dubious popcorn.
Yes, popcorn. Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, great.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Our creative juices are already just flowing so beautifully. It feels good to laugh too. Thank you all. Do you want to dive in, Lauren?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So just a little bit of context for us again. So for those of you who do not know, we come from the artistic land of the performing arts. We met in grad school in the United States here in Colorado, the University of Colorado Boulder. And so our coming together was one of collaboration, and it continued to be one of collaboration. We began making dance theater work. So that's kind of a little bit of our home turf. And quickly, because of a lot of our similar interests, that being creative practice, just the how much we loved and felt so nourished as humans in our creative practice, in addition to making our art, just being together and diving in and investigating. And that of human development, all of the philosophies around human development. And we both are Zen Buddhist practitioners, so there's that lens as well. We both come from a yogic background. And so with all of those different intersections, we both have now become mothers. There's this realm of letting life be art and art be life, and really sourcing it as such. So just a little context for where we come from. And we really see creativity as, yes, the source that we mine to manifest our art in the world, but also certainly something that is the stream, just like Brooke was saying, that we are ultimately lived by on a moment-to-moment basis. Creativity, life and death, the inhale, the exhale, things coming into form and things going away. This is like the actual coincidental, fundamental, inherent thing of being human on this planet. So we really see creativity as such. And then our practice, we see very much as a wholeness practice, a self-realization practice, in addition to an artistic practice. And in addition to a human practice, we see it as a death practice, because in addition to things coming into form, there are always things dissolving, collapsing, dying around us. So how can we be most present and responsive to how we and what we bring into form, as well as what we let go of and dissolve and let fully die? So that sort of cyclical way of engaging creativity. And then inside of that, the reason that we came to play today was that we really feel that to engage creative practice is to create some space around ourselves and our circumstances to be able to invoke and cultivate and increase the capacity for our responses and our fluidity and our free functioning and our ability to engage moment to moment to moment, free from homeostasis, free from our habitual patterns, free from moments that grip us in any notion of fight or flight. This capacity to sort of pause, create space, notice, and then actively make choices inside of is what we feel play is. So yes, it can be laughter and levity and absurdity and spontaneity, but it can also have a serious tone, and it can also be very specific, and it can also be very reverent in addition to its irreverence. So our creative practice has become for us really a way of life, a work ethic, and this sort of multi-dimensional training so that we are as available to respond to the moments, just like now. So that's a little bit. And then I'll just say that our values are threefold. There's this valuing of vitality. So sometimes people call it aliveness, listening and aligning and sniffing out what is alive in each moment. And it could be, when you feel it in the body, it's kind of a vibrational sensation. And from there, how do we get intimate with what is most alive? How do we participate with it? And then one of the biggest things that we love to engage is that of the imagination. Because if we can't imagine it, then it becomes that much more difficult to manifest it in the world. So as we feel more and more, as we offer ourselves wholeheartedly and fully to each moment, to notice, to feel, to perceive, to open to what is most alive, then how do we get intimate with it from all dimensions, thinking, feeling, writing, manifesting, touching ourselves because we can't touch each other. And then from there, how to engage our imagination to be able to play. So those are a little bit of our values.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke, do you have anything you want to add to that?
That was such a beautiful transmission of so much of what we care about deeply. And so I just want to pause and let everyone maybe even close your eyes if you want to, but just feel and let land what was most vivid and meaningful to you about what Lauren just said. That's kind of a lay of the land of how we orient and value and navigate, but just to let a couple things land in your mind and also in your feeling state right now, and just taking a couple breaths to let all that invitation really connect with your unique situation and state right now. Awesome, thank you. Just wanted to let that sink in a little bit. And that was really beautiful, Lauren. Thank you for that orientation. And I think the only other orienting piece I would give, especially because we're so uniquely alone together in this current historic moment, and together alone. We're with our people in our homes, but we're usually, Lauren and I are teaching this in a room and we can feel each other's energy. But here we are on a screen and sharing virtual space and time. And then some of you are even watching this in the future. So hello to you watching the recording. But one more orienting piece of our practice, and some of you who are coming from the integral land will recognize this, is that we, in our training, we've had times when people really value, like, the most important thing is the art piece. Like, we'll do anything to get a great piece of art, and we'll treat each other however, poorly or whatever, haphazardly we need to make great art. And then there's kind of the opposite response, which is like, it doesn't really matter what we make, it's all about the process, because how we're in relationship as we're making something is making us and is making our relationship. So let's value that, and then whatever happens as a piece of art, as a thing, as an it, as a third person thing, is less valuable than the process. And so we both decided somewhere along the way, hey, all three perspectives, all three native perspectives are important. I, we, it, first person, second person, third person perspectives. So as we're in any process, there's going to be moments where we're going to guide you today to really go into your first person experience, where you're really navigating your own subjective experience. And we think that's super valuable to cultivate vitality, intimacy, and imagination just with our own self. And equally, we value how we relate with one another. So you're going to have opportunities to talk to each other and just to feel the potential for aliveness, intimacy, and imagination together in relationships, second person perspective. And then we're also going to begin to be making a thing, like you're going to be writing, and we're not going to have like a finished piece of art at the end, but you might have something that leads to something. So we do value making a thing, a piece of art that we can actually like put out into the world and offer, or just have for ourselves on our wall, whatever its purpose may be. But we value that I, in cultivating our own self getting remade by the process, the we of like our relationship getting deepened and groomed and more complex and more intimate through collaboration. And then to make a more truthful and beautiful and good thing to offer to the world, whatever those 3 words mean to you, just to make a more groomed thing to offer to the world. So I, we, it. So no more talking for now. That was enough content. And we want to do the thing where you actually start making a thing. And sometimes we get asked this question, like, how do I just freaking start? Like, I love all this abstract philosophical conversation about creativity, but I can't just start. So we're going to ask you to just start a thing. And all you are going to do is write for about 5 minutes. We want you to strike the match of your own experience right now. Just answer the question and explore the question of what is most interesting to you right now in this moment in time. Like maybe this particular moment, or maybe more widely, like this particular global moment, and just let it roll. So start writing and just don't stop. It doesn't have to be edited or good. But what's most interesting or enlivening to you? Where is your attention going? And it doesn't have to be like serving others or something noble. It can, but it can also just be like, I made a weird breakfast today. That I can't stop thinking about how weird that breakfast was. Whatever is actually interesting to you, that's where you want to follow, because that's where the energy is. And we're tracking life force and we're tracking intimacy. So just explore what's most interesting to you, what's most alive for about 5 minutes, okay?
And I'll just say one thing: if you're curious, notice your sensations as you're writing. If there is sort of that kind of palpable aliveness in your body, that could be a clue that you're onto something. If it feels heady and you're kind of pulled and you're sort of over crafting something, see if you can take a moment to drop down into your body and feel where the sensations are, and move from that place that is a little bit vibrational or quivery, and start there. So we'll see you back in about 5 minutes.
And if you forget what the prompt is, I'm putting it in the chat. So take one more minute to explore what is most interesting and enlivening to you right now. All right, everybody. Excuse me. So you can always come back to this. And that's the beauty, is that once you've started, things seem to take on a life of their own, and you can plug back in after this call. So knowing that, add a period or a dot, dot, dot. And then if you could put down your pen, and could you give us like a hand gesture for how that was to explore that question? Okay, cool. Yes, it's obvious we have some dancers in the space. Awesome. Okay, so for some of you it seems like it was great, and for some of you it was like a mixture maybe of things. So one thing actually just on that point that I'll add is that sometimes, usually the greatest barrier to uncorking our creative nature, because our creative nature is always already here. It's just, we don't have to go anywhere. We sometimes just have to lean back into it. But usually the greatest barrier for people to accessing it is fear. And that's valid, because once you uncork it, sometimes, like I saw someone going like this, like that was a mixture. And sometimes when we uncork it, there's uncomfortable stuff to feel, or it can have a momentum that feels overwhelming. And so as we invite you to uncork your creative nature through different practices over the next hour and a half, we like to use a really simple schema for calibrating safety and risk, because creativity usually happens where we're safe enough to be present and still have like our frontal lobes online, like we can still think, but there's enough risk and enough danger that novelty can get in. It's something new. We're finding something new that's beyond our normal realm. So we like to use green light, yellow light, red light. And all that means is that when you're writing, when you're moving, when you're in dialogue, whatever you're going to be doing, that you are self-responsible for tracking that you're either in the green or the yellow. And what that means is that you feel like safe and risking a little bit in the unknown, but you're not in like a crisis or emergency state. And if you are, then please either send us a chat or do what you need to do to self-soothe and self-regulate. And you can sort of monitor your own self with those three kind of categories. And hopefully that makes sense. We'll be doing an 8-week series after this, and we'll go more deeply into how we calibrate that particular threshold and spectrum. But for now, we want to invite you to green and yellow. And if you feel yourself going into red, send us a message or do what you need to do. So now that you've connected to yourself and struck the match of your own kind of exploratory flow, we want to partner you up with someone and let you connect interpersonally about it, so you can hear yourself saying things you might not know you have to say. So you're going to get a partner in a small group, and if you've never done Zoom before, you're going to get an invitation to join a breakout group and just click yes. And then you'll have about 5 minutes each to say your name, maybe where you're from, why you joined this call, and then whatever you're inspired to share from your writing, like what is most interesting to you. So if Lauren and I were going to model that really quick, I would just say, hi, I'm Brooke. I'm from Boulder, Colorado. I joined the call today because we created it, and also because I'm in love with this practice. And something that I'm most interested in right now is this quote I read yesterday from Mirabai Starr that says, "Beauty blooms in tight places." I can't stop thinking about that. And then,
Yeah, and then, you know, being a really reflective listener. So I might reflect back, wow, that's beautiful. I really hear that, the depth of your inquiry inside of that quote. Do you want to tell me a little bit more? I might kind of add something to get her to maybe speak, and then I could also share my own. I'm also from Boulder, Colorado, and I'm here because I feel so drawn. Creative practice feels like my life. It's what I would die for. It's what I am dying for, is to be present in each moment. And I feel really inspired or really sort of drawn to and provoked by this notion of collapse, that what feels most familiar around us, there are cracks in the systems that are sort of starting to dissolve. And I'm just feeling that, and so interested in, and almost secretly delighted by some of it. I feel relieved inside of some of it. And I'm so curious, you know, that sensation of like apocalypse, but then the grass, like that one blade of grass. I'm just so curious what's gonna grow from all of this. So I might share that.
great. Is that clear? Name, where you're from, why you're here, and what's most interesting. And you have about 5 minutes, so you can go more deeply into what's more interesting to you. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It always gives a minute for people to click to come back or get booted.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in a small group, I keep talking until the last moment. I'm like, I just want to say, well, but you all are the ones who are proactive about returning. So welcome back.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. There was only about 9 or 2 or 3 seconds left. We were waiting till the end. We were moving in for the last word too.
Totally.
There's a particular urgency when you have a countdown.
Yeah.
You better get it in. What else? Yes. So I like that, you know. I mean, we definitely feel as artists, self-identified artists, that if we don't give ourselves a deadline, nothing ever comes, because we can just live so beautifully inside a process, but we have to give ourselves a deadline. So there's your 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back. And we before we move on, I would just love to hear from maybe 1 or 2, maybe 2 people, what came up for everybody, and just presence your voice in the space. And I'll start with, I was with Anna, and we were talking about the layers. Another workshop that Brooke and I gave about a week ago unpacked some layers inside of uncertainty. And there are so many, but what we talked about was the presence of fear, resistance, tolerance, and then our capacity to embrace uncertainty. And that we were just feeling into where's the play within each of those levels. Like when we're really feeling the fight or flight of fear, like the grippingness and the paralysis of fight or flight, what allows us to soften and bring some space and bring some capacity to simply feel and surrender without overreacting or without having to fix or do anything, and to notice what arises if we kind of, I was saying that for me, the metaphor was like, being surrounded by a dam that was slowly cracking, and all the holes, there's water, and I was going in this direction, and and then over here another crack was happening, like trying to fill it in, then I get my toe in, and and all of a sudden I was just at capacity with trying to fix this moment. There's nothing that we can do to fix it. It's just, there's like this insurmountable and weight of things collapsing and the threat and all of those things. So what else? What is available? And we're talking about surrender. So anyone else want to share? I'd love to just hear from maybe two people what happened inside of your breakout rooms. And you can either just go like this if anyone is willing. And I know this is a brave moment. I know on Zoom calls, I always feel pulled to share, but then it feels like so much pressure and so precious. Like I have to be perfect in my words. And there are many times where I'm like, I want to, but I can't. But you can. So if you're feeling pulled, just go like this.
Christina has her hand up. Christina Late.
Yes.
Hi. Thanks for being brave. Oh, you're muted. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. So I'm from Portugal, and I was with Anne-Marie from Canada. And it was really interesting because we have so many things in common. We're both writers. We both came here because of Brooke. We both feel that creativity is somehow one of the tools to use in this situation, and we want to explore that more, and we want to connect more to other creative people. So I really enjoyed these breakout rooms, and I just wanted to say thank you to Anne-Marie, and thank to the facilitators and to the group. And I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. We really need connection as a soul nutrient right now. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. Maybe one other. I'm looking on page 2 or page 3. Oh, Leah, are you wiggling your finger? Okay, go, Leah.
I need to unmute myself. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. So I was with, first of all, it was really kind of exciting surprise. I've never done a breakout room in Zoom before, and to just be surprised with a new person across the world. So I was with Shireen in Amman, Jordan, and I'm also in Boulder, Colorado. And it's amazing how in times like this, we were talking about how there's no space for bullshit. And we've been having so many intimate conversations with the people in our lives, because it's like the noise and the hum of the routine is off the table. And it was fascinating to me how we were able to kind of go right into a very honest and real conversation online, and having never met before, and really, get right into the heart of it. And I think that's what part of what we talked about was this feeling of, the veils are lifting for us, if we allow them to. And heart-to-heart conversations are ironically happening more easily, it seems, right now. And what good can come of that. It was really, really beautiful exchange.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love the veils are being lifted, whether we like them or not. Whether we like that or not, it seems that. But what the beauty of that is that why not? Here's the gift. You just were in a breakout room with someone that what were the chances of meeting before?
Yeah.
And let's get to the heart of who we are and what matters. And but I will say, just to keep kind of holding the full spectrum of play, in a loving challenge to include the bullshit, perhaps, and include the irreverence, to keep kind of including the irreverence as well as the reverence. And how can we be intimate with the bullshit, and all the cat videos and the and the memes and the absurdity. How can we find the sacredness inside of bullshit, whatever bullshit? And it's funny to say bullshit over and over again so in the sentence, but what is that, and how at this time, that how can we, instead of creating over solidifying just a different hierarchy, that can we allow a fluidity that in a very moment, we might just need to be so like heart to heart, get in, dive, and then in another moment it might be just admitting to you that I didn't brush my teeth, because why? We're on Zoom and you're not going to notice that.
I notice.
So anyway, there's something to be free of overarching agendas or just creating another should inside of how we are to respond to this moment, and to let it all sort of co-arise and coexist depending on what is needed. But I love that. I love the immediacy of that beauty and intimacy. Speaking of cat videos, I like the chat. I like what's happening inside of the chat. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a cat video happening inside. We planned that. Just my kitten is making rounds and attacking my legs. Okay. So we're going to move. We're going to move on from here. Brooke, is there anything else you want to say before we?
No, well, I'll just say, so we're just over the halfway mark, and we are literally going to move now. We're going to move our bodies, and it's going to be like a gentle guided pathway in. So if you don't consider yourself a movement person, that's totally fine. This is a human practice. But this would be a great moment to, if you really need to use the bathroom, go do that real quick. And then we're going to start guiding a movement exploration. So just pop back in after your bathroom break if you need it. This is a good moment to take it. And some of us feel more free to move with our cameras off. And so if you're in that category, feel free to turn your camera off. And we'll get started, but join back in when you can after you take a bathroom break.
Okay. So I know for many of you, you are inside of your living rooms or bedrooms or kitchens or outside, and so as we move into this, you know, take a moment to just look around. You're more than welcome to stay inside of your chair. And I know, and for some of us, we're listening with, you know, earbuds or headphones on. So that may, you can always choose to unlock your video. And I know for a couple of you, you're in the same space, but just on different computers. So you can choose, you know, how you work with this. But our creative practice is one of embodiment. And so we believe in bringing attention to and sourcing the wisdom of our bodies. And again, no matter how you self-identify, whether that's if you would say you were a mover or a dancer, we all have bodies. And to drop in to that is important. So find space for yourself. If you can, you don't have to sit, you don't have to lay down, but just to be able to close your eyes and check in for a moment. So again, wherever you are, I hope that you can hear me. Feel free to, we're not going to put music on this end because it's still a little bit wonky to be able to speak and play music through the same speaker. But if you want to put music on in your space, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you can just allow it to be the sound of my voice. But taking a moment to close your eyes. And as your eyes are closed, allow the feeling of your eyelids to drop over the eyes and to inspire a quality, a short wave of relaxation to move through the body. To feel the weight of your body in space, no matter what it is in contact with, whether that is a chair or the floor or a couch. Notice the sensations that are present in the body. You may notice fatigue, you may notice a little tension, you may notice the movement of your breath. But again, as you begin to pay attention to the body, invoke that quality of inquiry and curiosity that you did inside of your writing. And see if you can bring it inside of your body, so that as you begin to feel, you're locating what is most alive inside of the body. Where does your attention go? And as you're given the opportunity to come into contact with how you feel here in this moment, how would you want to move? And again, invoking that quality of curiosity and inquiry, and those dials of a green into a yellow, inviting courage to embody and inhabit your aliveness. Allow your aliveness to move your body. And again, striking the match. Just simply begin. That could just be feeling your breath. It could be a easy sway back and forth. And for some of you, as uncensored, as unapologetic as you can be, you might just begin to move. And again, this is following your aliveness. So whether it's to stretch, to walk, to shake it out, to bring a bounce, to collapse or roll, you're just beginning to move from your deepest impulses. Where and how do you desire to move in this moment? And you may notice a quality of fear. You may notice a quality of resistance. You may notice simply a quality of tolerance or okayness. And you may notice a quality of full embrace. No matter where you are on that spectrum, how do you play? What is play? How do you allow and afford yourself to simply play with this moment, to be real, to follow your impulses, to follow your aliveness, to follow your deepest desire and pleasure, just to move as you, as each of you. Beautiful, full-bodied, wise, feeling, unique humans on this planet. How are you inspired to move with your children, with your plants, with your pets, alone? And again, working with that dial of safety. Where and how can you be courageous to free fall into this moment? To give yourself full permission to move in the way that you want to move. And as you keep going, as you play with that dial, turn it up, intensify it if it feels right for you, with greater permission, with greater feelings of uncensored. There's no right or wrong. But we're going to include the imagination. How free can we be to not only embody our deepest pleasure in this moment, but maybe just a little bit of play inside of our imagination. So as you move in your space, see if you can bring some levity, as if maybe you were inside of space, or as if a breeze was blowing through you, or perhaps a feeling of a million feathers surrounding your body. See if you can up level your delight and your senses to imagine yourself and a sense of buoyancy or a sense of levity, lightness, softness in your body. A feather passing over the side of your face or down your back, or the feeling of gravity lessening and your body could just simply float. See how fully and wholeheartedly you can embody the quality of space and levity. 2 more breaths. Yes, and if you are in space together, feel free to dance with whoever and whatever is in your space. Yes. Good. From this space, just shape-shifting the texture a little bit to imagine a network of velvet tunnels. If all of a sudden your particular place transformed into a network of velvet tunnels, how could you tunnel your way through space? What would your body have to do to initiate moving through a network of tunnels? Tunnels above you, tunnels below you. Is there a way that you can get low? How low to the ground can you get? The lowest tunnel inside of your space. And if you have a table, you might tunnel your way under something inside of your space. So a network of velvet tunnels. Just give 1 or 2 more breaths to that feeling. And then almost like we could just change the channel, shape-shifting from a network of velvet tunnels to the quality of gooey mud. It could be warm or it could be cold, but imagine yourself inside of a lake or an embankment of gooey mud. What would it be like if your whole space was filled with mud? Can you feel it in between your toes, in between your fingertips, in under your armpits? The slurpy, gooey, slimy texture of moving inside of mud. And again, noticing the quality of emotions as your imagination is invoked. How do you play if it brings up fear? How do you play if it brings up resistance? How do you stay present inside of just tolerating the experience? And perhaps, just perhaps, how can you embrace it fully? And so now moving from gooey mud, if we could just turn the channel to experiencing your room full of popcorn. Popcorn inside of the body, little tiny delightful explosions happening inside of all of your joints, as if popcorn was happening inside of the body, little popcorn inside of your elbows, popcorn inside of your wrists or fingertips, popcorn beneath your feet, popcorn happening around you, little tiny delightful or weird or absurd little explosions, tiny explosions happening all around. It bounces you from moment to moment, bounces you against something. Maybe it lets you pop up off of the wall, or pop up off of the floor, or pop up off of each other. If you could popcorn your way up off of the chair or in and out of the floor, or against the table, or your children or your pets, or your cushion, wherever you are, just a little quality of shaking it out, letting it kind of explode and release, tiny releases, all the releases. What do you want to let go of? What do you want to just release from your joints, from your cells, from your organs, from your synapses, from your mind? Yes, one more breath inside of your beautiful, amazing bowl of popcorn, space full of popcorn. And then turning one last dial, this one last dial, to the experience of pushing or pulling. Imagine almost like you were a taffy, so it's a little thicker than mud, but this quality of pushing or pulling or folding or squeezing. If you're a baker, this is like kneading the dough. How do you knead the dough of your own body? Squeezing in to give your own unique self a massage. Pressing into your experience, stretching away from your experience, pressing into your space and stretching away from your space, feeling ways in which you can expand and then contract fully, folding fully inward and opening beyond the boundary of your own skin. And then for just a moment, just for one moment, I want you to imagine everyone doing this at the same time. Can you expand your awareness to perceive all of the rooms inside of this call, or perhaps around the world, and imagine this collective embodied movement, dance, and simply play in and out of these qualities: space, velvet tunnels, gooey mud, popcorn, taffy like pulling or pushing or kneading. Imagine yourself playing in a room where we were all together, feeding off of each other's energy, and the collective room right now being across the whole globe, including people from around the world. Notice what it feels like to move and to breathe and to dance and to create this moment with people all over the world. I'm just taking 3 more deep breaths. And gently slowing it down, maybe even bringing a hand to your heart and noticing the pulsation of your heartbeat, the aliveness, the unique individual aliveness of your own self, and at the same time, your collective aliveness around the world. And staying present to this quality, to the images that may come up, to the feeling states that may be moving through you. Allow yourself to move back to your journal or your paper and write. Write from this embodied wisdom. Write to source your embodied knowing. What is alive? What is most alive to you in this moment? What was your experience? What did you notice? What do you want to capture? And just take a few moments to write.
Take one more minute to just flow through words on paper, knowing you can come back to this later. Beautiful job exploring and diving in. Thank you so much for exploring with us. And if you could, again, put a period or a ... to be continued. And we're going to flow right into a different kind of dance. So if you can find a position of stillness that's comfortable for you right now, and that could be anything. You could be sitting right here in front of the screen. You could lie down on your back, on your belly. You can stand if you want to, but we're going to still the body now that we squeezed and pushed and pulled and woke up the cells. We're going to allow the body to come to stillness. Take a moment to find a position that's 10% more comfortable than you're in right now. So just getting 10% more comfortable and feeling the base of your body in contact with the ground. And then whatever position you're in, feeling your spine and breathing length into your spine. So it doesn't have to be a flat spine, it's a long spine. So there's a grounded base of the body and a long spine. And then just connect with the breath. It doesn't matter what it's doing. You don't have to change it unless you want to. Just connect with it. So harmonizing your body, mind, and breath. And organizing yourself in stillness, and then you'll feel what is sometimes called this small dance, the buzzing, microscopic dancing of our inner workings, of our body, mind, and heart. So in stillness, feeling your stability, the support of the earth, your breath, and this small dance.
So as you just take another deep breath here, we're going to guide you through the play of visualization. So again, how fully can you inhabit your imagination as you're guided into the particular imagery. So as you take a deep breath, I want you to begin to imagine yourself on a path. And this path can look and feel like anything. It could be a familiar path that you know and love. And it could, as you kind of conjure up that question, what path am I on? It could be an image of a path that you've never ever seen before. Either way or anywhere inside of that spectrum, trust it. Trust the image that comes to you. And as you feel that image arise, begin to walk along this path.
So we're continuing the exploration that we've done in writing and then in partners and then in movement. Now we're doing a yoga of our imagination. So in your imagination, you're walking along your path. And just feel that subtle body movement, that your physical body is still, but your subtle body is actually able to move along this path that is yours. And then as we continue exploring in the imagination, we want you to create or discover up ahead of you on the path this incredibly exquisite tree. So it can be any tree, maybe from your childhood or somewhere that you love in the world, or like a made up Dr. Seuss kind of tree. But just either let it come to you or make it up. And then as you're walking towards it in your imagination, just revel in its beauty. It's a thriving tree, if that's possible. And if what's coming to you is different than what I'm describing, that's totally fine. You can go with what's coming to you. This is your tree, and you're getting closer to it in this imaginative exploration. And as you come close to it, just explore it again with your subtle body, with your senses. You can touch the bark. What does it feel like? Does it have like a smell like vanilla or cinnamon or pine? And look up at the expanding branches and maybe the sunlight coming through the leaves. And the leaves are so healthy. They're glossy and green and very alive and thriving. You can feel that the root system is deep into the earth, deeply sourcing all the needed nutrients. And then you can do whatever you like in this tree. You can climb it, you can hug it, you can lay down under it. This tree is for you. It serves a function for you. Its primary job in existence is to serve you. It's your, we're going to call it your worry tree. So all it wants is to receive you and to actually receive your worries, your fears, your anxieties. So as you're climbing or hugging or lying down or whatever you're doing, you can begin to offer this tree anything you're afraid of right now, or anything you're worried about, whether it's big or small. Paying your next month's rent, or the human species, or how your mom is doing. Whatever you're carrying that feels heavy, you can offer it to this tree. And when you give it to the tree, maybe you can exhale it into the tree, or maybe you can pull it out of your mouth as like a colorful ribbon that you hang on a branch. However you offer your worries or fears, the tree receives them and is able to transform and transmute them into nourishment. So you offering your fears is a gift to the tree. It recycles your fears into nourishment for itself. So go ahead and offer 3 more worries, fears, or anxieties. And keep breathing and just see how it feels in your body to offer your fears to something outside yourself. And then offering gratitude to this worry tree that is here to serve you in whatever way you want, playfully, reverently, whatever feels right. Knowing you can come back to this tree in your imagination, in your psychological space, in the subtle realm, however you conceive of this. So thank the tree and then turn around. And we want you now to see this big stone wall, this big sturdy stone wall in front of you that extends in both directions, to your left and your right. It's guarding something very precious. And as you reach out and touch the cold stone of this wall, you realize you're touching a door. You realize the door is locked, and you realize you have the key in your pocket. So you pull out a key that pleases you. It's an old-fashioned key or a modern key, whatever you like, and you unlock the door. You alone have this key. You alone can unlock this door. So you unlock the door and you open the door and you walk in, and you close the door behind you and you lock it, and you put the key in your pocket. So you alone are allowed entrance into this space. And what this space is your garden, your precious garden in the interior of your heart, of your life, of your soul, of your being. This is the precious, blooming garden of your life. And you're safe here, and it's always here. And if you feel squeamish that you don't deserve it, it's still right here. So you can look around and notice the plants and the animals and whatever else is here. You can make stuff up or simply see it in your mind's eye. And just breathe it in. Smell the smells. You can touch the plants. You can do whatever you like in here. And just like the worry tree, it's always already here in the space of your imagination, in this subtle realm, at the level of soul. So it's always here for you to come back to. And today there's 3 characters that are here that want to greet you and teach you about how to play, because they realize that humans, especially adult humans, have often forgotten the art of play. So the first character that's in your garden that you get to create the details of is your protector. So if fear comes back, even after the worry tree experience, you have this protector being. And maybe you had this in childhood and you forgot, but it's still here. And this can be an animal and a human, it can be an ancestor, it can be a superhero, it can be a deity, it can be anything you like. It's your protector, always here, always available at this level of imagination of soul to protect you, no matter what is going on. So you can sort of feel in your body maybe a little or a lot of relief in the presence of this protector, and you can greet the protector however you like. And then continuing with the exploration with this imagination yoga, you invite in the next character, which is your guide. So you have your protector to keep you safe. Now you have a guide who knows the way in just the right timing for you. So this is in your creative life if you're making art. It's also just in your life. So this guide, again, can be an animal, an ancestor, a human, a god or goddess, whatever comes, someone who knows the way. So you don't have to figure it all out. You simply have to ask for help and feel and wait. Allow yourself to feel childlike in this moment, playing in the imagination. You have full permission to let this person be as amazing and radiant and awesome and quirky as you want. Or it can be a badass tiger who knows the way, that you get to ride this tiger. And even if no one ever knows about these characters, and even if you think you're crazy that you have invisible friends, here they are. And how does it feel to be in their presence if you allow yourself to be childlike? To whatever degree you're able to allow this in is fine. If it feels a little far away, that's fine. But now you have your protector and your guide, and we're going to invite in one more character today to teach us specifically about play. And this is the Divine Jokester. So it's some kind of coyote character, some kind of mischief maker, some kind of jokester, who even in the midst of uncertainty and tragedy and loss and darkness, this jokester knows how to play and play well for the sake of play itself, simply to feel the aliveness and the joy of play. So visualize, create, or receive this divine jokester and once you have it, whether it's animal, human, ancestor, dead or alive, whoever it is, they have a message for you about how you can play, some message for you about play. This is your divine jokester. They have a message specifically for you in this moment in history about play. So allow them to give it to you, either through words or through a note or through movement. They have something to offer you. It might feel a bit enigmatic or mysterious, but just allow it to happen that they hand you this message about play. And then take a moment more to just feel the presence of your protector, your guide, your divine jokester, this beautiful, precious garden in the space of your heart, your interior. It's like an altar in the center of you, protected by the stone wall, outside the worry tree, serving you, holding your worries so you don't have to. And just as we created all this or discovered all this in this realm of the imagination, allow it to just stay here, always available, already existing at this subtle level to serve you, to guide you, to protect you, to play with you, to hold you, to comfort you. And now simply take a deep breath into all of it, whether it's real or just made up, it doesn't matter. Just feel how it feels to have played in there. And then open your eyes and go back to your paper and take a couple more moments. And now after this exploration, go ahead and write. Just write freely, no editing, for a couple minutes, adding to your writing. And just about 30 seconds more. And now shift from the writing to going to your whole piece that you've written today, from the question, what's most interesting, to writing after movement, to writing after that imagination exercise, and just simply go through and circle the words or phrases that are most interesting to you now. So you're pulling out little nuggets of, for whatever reason, where your attention goes. And don't be too precious with it. Just first thought, best thought, circling what grabs your attention. Awesome. Go ahead and circle the last one that you need to or want to. Thank you all so much for going for this ride and for trusting us and for just diving in. We have one more piece to kind of bring this into a new form. So put your pen down, please. And what's going to happen is we're going to put you back into your breakout group. You're probably going to be with the person you were with before. You might have a new partner. Lauren and I are going to quickly model what we're going to invite you to do, which is, this is called shadow play interpretation. So if I were to go first, and we're not going to take too long with it. It's just like 3 or 4 minutes for each partner. I'm just going to read to Lauren what I've circled. So if I'm the partner that's going first, I'm going to say, how good it feels. Expand like a sponge in water. Beauty blooms in tight places. So the juice can ooze all over my many selves. You have to be willing to say, fuck it. And also, I care. And then I get to sort of, those are my circled things. And I get to interpret that like, oh, wow, I just hear like there's like a lot of liquid stuff. Like there's the sponge expanding in water. There's the oozing juice. There's like a lot of expansion and liquid and juiciness. That's kind of my first interpretation. Then I get to hear from her. She's just going to say, well, yeah, when I heard your circled phrases.
Yeah. So, and again, this is like, first, there's, not moving too much into an analyzation mode, but just kind of first interpretation. So all of the shadow play is to get to the wisdom of the unconscious, the underneath layers of ourselves. So for you, Brooke, I hear the liquidy, and it brings to mind this image of like porous nature, of like of a wall that is just boundaried enough, but that has the capacity for things to really flow through and to move. But there's this pulsation for you. And then
if I hear her say something, if nothing she says interests me, that's fine. But she might be offering me a clue to where this writing is going. Or maybe this writing is the beginning of a painting or a dance. So this is all just like a treasure hunt. And she might have a clue for me because she's seeing it from the outside. So I might be like, oh, porous wall, and I can write that down. And who knows where this is going to go, but it could be the seeds for something. Or just for a process today. So
yeah, so it can be a back and forth, but let one person begin and let it be kind of a reflection back and forth for that one person. And then once that kind of feels like it's wrapping up, then go ahead and switch and let the other person begin, and then let it be a little bit of a back and forth reflection. So you're sourcing imagery, you're sourcing the realm of the non sequitur, the space in which it doesn't have to make exact sense yet. So if there's a word or an image that you're gathering the in-between layers, the subconscious layers, the shadow layers.
You're playing.
You're playing.
You're playing.
In that domain. Okay. Can you guys give me a thumbs up, if that feels okay to dive into?
And you're going to get just about 3 minutes each. So again, it's not precious. And that shortness of time can work in our favor because you don't have to think too much. It's just first impressions. Okay, so here we go. 3 minutes each part. The infamous countdown.
Hey, do you do that Gmail address? Is that a good email address for you?
Yeah, that's the best one.
Okay.
I'm not the best with email though.
I
have to admit.
So welcome back. Welcome everybody as they're coming back. And I love it. Yes, inside of the chat, it feels like there could be more time inside of this, just kind of cracking, just like getting at the surface just a little bit. So
this is why we created a week-long retreat for this practice, so we could let things take as long as they take, but we had to cancel our retreat. So this is the container we're working in now. And if you have time to stay for just a couple of extra minutes, it would be so great to hear from 2 or 3 of you with just, if you feel that feeling in your body or your mind that you feel compelled to share, you might not even know why, but maybe it's going to benefit someone else in the group. So if you feel compelled to share, we'd love to hear from 2 or 3 of you of any of that. What did you discover that has your attention, that's interesting, that's enlivening? You can just raise your hand.
Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to share something I just shared with my partner. There's when we came back from the embodiment exercise, there's a screen that says Malini, I think is her name. And as I came back, I saw all these beautiful people dancing, and like I just got so emotional and connected. And you said to put your hand on your heart, and I was just looking at Malini's screen, and she and her daughter were moving. And then they put their hands on each other's hearts. And I just it was so moving. So I just wanted to say thank you to them.
Hi, Malini.
Hi, Malini.
And just that I came in with this craving to go inward and do my own thing and be by myself, in this time when we're kind of stir crazy with our families. And then it came out with this opening of oh, this is about connecting with each other. Duh. Right? I don't need to connect more with myself. Maybe I do, but not at the expense of connecting with the people that are closest to me. So.
Yeah. So beautiful.
I love that.
And I can tell that Malini and Maya are listening.
I know, and they're snuggling. It's so cute. I love it. My kids have been extra snuggly in this whole process, and it's such a yummy gift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Snuggle.
Thank you for your tears too. It feels good to have mine feel permission to come. My tears. Who else wants to share anything? Yeah, Keelan, please. Hi.
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 Here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. For me, these feelings of waking and spring and these movements that came with that were things I felt and came out in my words too. And speaking with Lulu from Boulder, she expressed some beautiful cyclical movement concepts and shared right towards the end shared something about emerging from a cocoon and and this mud feeling we were playing with, and that stickiness, and then coming out and smelling all these aromatics of spring is something we shared too. And I just really enjoyed that combination. We really enjoyed that combination of writing and movement and what it brought up in this season.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, it would be so wonderful to hear from all of you, and so it's just so fun to have the voices in the whole space with each other, and thankful for Zoom to be able to partner us off, and the gift of and the surprise of all of these breakout groups, and I wish we could continue, but we're at the end. So we wanted to say thank you so much. We wanted this to be an offering at this time of our global predicament, and like Elizabeth was saying, one, to nourish ourselves in our isolated state, but also to use whatever means possible to stay connected to each other, and to connect further and wider and more intimately across the oceans to people that we may never have been able to before. So we're really grateful for your presence and your willingness and your participation and your wholeheartedness. And our deepest intention is to keep going. So we're offering an 8-week series to start, and then who knows what. This is, I hope you can feel, a practice that we believe in for ourselves and the community that has begun to grow around this. We just love so deeply. So Brooke has put that in the chat, and then we'll also send that out, and we'd love for you to join in whatever capacity. There are multiple tiers, and ways of participating. It will not be refused to anyone, no matter what. So
yeah, the suggested investment is $200 for 8 2-hour workshops like this. So starting next week, just exactly at this day and time, this time slot continuing. We're just going to keep going for 8 more weeks. The suggested investment is $200, but you get to, literally when you go in and register, you get to choose how much you can and want to pay. So please join us if this feels relevant and life-giving to you and supportive, and please spread the word. We're open to whoever's meant to join this practice and community to join. So, and also we're curious how this can be of service in our life and our world. So we'll leave you with that as homework. How can this ripple out into your day and your relationships in your home and into our world? That's our inquiry. So much love.
So we can unmute everybody, and everyone can just
Okay,
say,
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.
so much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi,
Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, Bodhi.
It's going to show us in a minute.
Hi, Bodhi.
Bye.
Hi, Maya. Hi,
Is
Bodhi.
Josiah still up?
Oh, look at all these beautiful little kids.
Love you, Maya. Love you, Brooke. Thank you. Love you, Molly.
Thank you.
Hi, Henrik.
Hi,
right.
everyone.
Let me stop the recording.
It's the red button.
Bye.